Caleb from the band to talk us through it track by track. Caleb, welcome to XFM.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you here. Thanks for coming in, and I'm looking forward to playing the whole of the new album because in many ways it's a departure for Kings of Leon. I think it sounds kind of different from the first two albums in lots of good ways. When did you start thinking about recording a new album and that kind of thing?
Well, we like to work. We like to, as soon as we get off the road, we always plan on resting, but we pretty much have a lot in us that we want to get out. So, I mean, I think we started recording this record in April, and it only took us about 6 weeks to record it, so we've actually been sitting on it for a little while, and of course the material, we had a lot of the material before that, so yeah, we've been thinking about it for a while.
Yeah, so the songs have been written before you went in the studio in April to record it?
Yeah. I mean, there's always little things that you change, and usually I'm sitting there writing lyrics, while we're working on the day before, the song from the day before.
Yeah.
So
does it always fall on your shoulders to write those lyrics? Is it always your job?
Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, I'm sure the other guys would give me a hand if I would let them, but I don't know. I have a big mouth. I have a lot to say. They put the music. They help me with the music, and we put it all together, and then I just get stuff off my chest. So
yeah, and I guess the other guy's got to do the main singing. So you got to feel it. And
yeah. I don't want to be singing Matthew's love songs.
So April 2006. Kings of Leon went in to record the new album, and was this just like going round the corner, because some of it was recorded in Nashville, some of it was recorded in LA?
Yeah, actually a great majority was recorded in Nashville. We went to LA at the end to record a couple of B-sides, which ended up being two of the best songs on the record in my opinion. But yeah, to record in Nashville was the greatest experience. I mean, as a band, we've never recorded in the studio that was that welcoming and that inspiring. I mean, we had a blast making this record. You could pretty much, make everything feel the way you wanted it to. I mean, you could make the room whatever color you wanted it, the lights and everything. It was like a big rock show. I mean, you could open the ceiling and look at the stars while you're playing. It was pretty amazing, and they had good drinks too.
Excellent, that does sound amazing. So this is Blackbird Studios in Nashville, and you're saying you could just switch the lighting, so if you wanted it to be green or blue or purple or bright white.
Yeah, that was the case. I mean, with a song like Charmer, like a heavy song, I mean, we'd make the room like really harsh red and yellow, and then like a wide open song like Arizona, it was all pinks and purples, and it just really set up the vibe, and it made the recording like so easy and so fun. I mean, we had a real good time making this record. Hopefully people can tell when they hear it.
Yeah. I mean, are you, what's the right phrase? Is it kinesthetic? Do you see music in terms of colour? I know that Josh Homme was in here doing one of these interviews, and he was explaining how he sees all music in terms of colour. So he'd be describing a song and he'd say, right, well, this one's green, and he'd kind of go into detail about why.
Yeah, I think with music, I mean, I see it in a lot of different ways, not only colors, but hopefully, if you're a good songwriter, hopefully you can paint a good enough picture and a visual to where, I mean, you don't want to paint it so much so to where people can't kind of go wild with it. I mean, I want people to, after we write a song, I want it to become their song, and I want them to see it the way that they see it and hear it the way that they hear it. But I mean, when we're writing a song, of course you see it in colors and you see the story, and I mean, making a record, we strive for perfection. So I mean, that way, in case people were to tell us like, well, we think this should be a single, well, we try to make the whole record good enough to where we're never going to be disappointed. So when we're writing songs, I mean, you see the story, you see the color, you see everything about it.
Yeah. And so, recording in Nashville, I mean, you're based in Nashville as a band, aren't you?
Yeah.
So, did you go home every night to where you live, or?
Yeah, it was the first time we actually slept in our own beds, and You know, we got to eat at the same restaurants, and we would go to the same bar every night. And I mean, it was like, it wasn't like work at all. I mean, it was pretty much like sitting around having a secret. I mean, all these other bands, we would go to a bar and see them all, and we'd be looking at them like, you have no idea what we're about to do to you boys.
Excellent, I love that idea. And so, did you apply a strict work ethic to this? Were you there in the studio at 9 o'clock in the morning through till 6, or did you work through the night? How did you do it?
Well, this one was a little more relaxed than the past ones. I mean, we've always had a schedule. You know, we'd always get there at about 1 o'clock in the day. But I mean, it was summertime. It was beautiful. The sun was shining. We would get there, and for the first 2 hours of the day, we'd play wall ball outside, or we'd all be laying out, you know, while all these other country musicians are recording around us. You know,
Right.
we'd try to get Faith Hill all hot and bothered when she got there. We'd be shirtless with pineapple Malibus and sweaty, and then we would go in there in the evening time. And you know, it doesn't take us long in the studio. You know, we go in there and we see the beauty in recording, and we're not in there like with Pro Tools and all this stuff. And even though with this record we set out, you know, to record a record that wasn't live, because we've done that. You know, it's like we don't want to do a live record, but we really can't get away from it. I mean, when you put us all in the room together, we would be like, all right, we're going to play along, but we're just getting a drum track, you know. Then we'd go back in there to listen to it, and we'd be like, throw some background vocals on it, you know, let's fix this little guitar hiccup and stuff like that. I mean, it was pretty much another live record, you know. This time we got to experiment with sounds and some pedals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering what the impact of maybe touring with the likes of U2 had, because listening to the guitar sounds, it's the first time, maybe I'm wrong, but the first time I've heard Kings of Leon sounding like they, you know, that you might have been listening to U2, kind of taking on board some of the influence of The Edge, maybe, or maybe bands like the Pixies, or, you know, there seem to be different sounds in what you do for this
Yeah,
record.
I mean, it was, you know, I mean, when you're touring with bands of that caliber and that size, and playing in those size of venues, I mean, when we would go in there to sound check in the day, it would be this big empty place. And so even with our guitars and our little amps, I mean, if you hit a chord, it would go for days. And it was like, wow, you know, we want to recreate that. Even when we're in our little garage, I want to, you know, I want to have some bells and whistles to where I can do that. And bells and whistles to us, like, literally is like a reverb pedal. And, you know, we're just now using pedals, whereas most bands, right, when you pick up a guitar, you're not good enough, so you use a pedal to make it sound pretty. We waited till we were good enough before we started incorporating stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Or were you, I mean, in a way, you were probably good enough to start with, that you could kind of concentrate on the, as it sounded, the plain sound of a guitar
Yeah,
untreated?
that's what it was. I mean, we had got everything down before we even incorporated anything like that. And, you know, touring with U2, man, I mean, we actually didn't know that much about U2 before we went on the road with them. And when we'd go in there to watch their show, it was like an experience. And it was hit after hit after hit. And we'd be looking at each other like, wow, that's a U2 song? I had no idea, man. And of course, The Edge, man, he gets some wicked sounds.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So, I mean, in effect, you kind of been aware of U2's music without being aware of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was just, we knew there were good songs out there. We just didn't know it was all
Yeah.
U2.
And I mean, Bob Dylan, you toured with Bob Dylan too, so, and that's another generation, another era completely. And he's playing in such a different kind of way to how he sounded in the past, and to how he has sounded. It's almost like he's found this groove, and he does everything in the groove, as it were.
Yeah, he sticks to his guns like no one else, and I mean, I respect it so much. And I mean, I get it, you know. I heard people that would go to the show, and like when they're walking out, they're like, that didn't sound like Bob Dylan. And I was like, actually, you're wrong. That sounds just like Bob Dylan. I mean, Bob Dylan sounds the way he sounds, and he doesn't conform. He never has conformed. And man, I would get a kick out of watching him, man. He would just do whatever he wanted. Watching him sound check was the most entertaining thing ever. He would literally just walk around and flip a coin, and then he'd pick up a guitar, and as soon as the band would come in, if someone would mess up, he would give them a hateful look and put down his guitar and flip the coin for like 10 minutes, and they'd all just sit there. So I've tried to start doing that, but my band's not cool with it.
They're saying, hang on a minute, what the hell do you think you're doing? Well, I think we should play the record. We've got to listen to these new sounds and check out where Kings of Leon are at the moment. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by this album in a way, and particularly the way it starts. When you start with a 7-minute track, which is like the longest song you've ever done.
Yeah, it's the longest song anyone has ever done in history. Yeah, we wanted to take some risks with this record, and as soon as we recorded this song, I mean, we weren't just trying to be, quirky and started out with a long song. I mean, this song in particular, it sounds like the start of something. It sounds like a train just now, getting going, and you can hear us all kind of settling into our instruments on this song. So I think it was a given that we had to do it first.
Yeah, and it sounds great, and you can hear it in just a moment. The train will be leaving the station Kings of Leon. You got to be on that train. It's Exposure. It's XFM. Journey is underway. That is Knocked Up. Kings of Leon from the brand new album Because of the Times on Exposure XFM. And tonight, the album gets the Exposure album playback treatment with Caleb Followill from the band here to talk us through it track by track. And you were talking about how it's like that was the train, and you're getting on the train. And in a way, is it the start of a story? I mean, it seems to be, is it about a teenage pregnancy, or what's it about, Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, I think with this record, I was trying to get a little deeper in certain ways. I mean, in the past, I've always tried to write really honest songs, and some of them are a little too honest, and they tell you a lot about us. But I mean, I think with this record, I didn't want only kids and or rock stars to relate to it. I didn't want it to be about, pigeonholed about this certain type of person. I mean, I was trying to write these kind of love songs in a way that have existed for years and years and years, and write about things that, that isn't as glamorous nowadays. I mean, the love stories in the past were always so beautiful to me. I mean, the movies where the woman would slap the man, and then the man would slap the woman back, and it was all passion. And like my grandparents, for instance, I mean, they didn't, they don't sit around saying nice things about each other. I mean, they rarely even talk to each other. But they had such a family value that nothing was going to break it up, And so it was really about having to work really hard for it. And I think, with this song, Knocked Up, that's what it was about. And then, the fact that we put it first, it kind of went from that to kind of turning into like this renegade style song, to where it's like, yeah, she got pregnant, her daddy's not happy, and we're going for a long ride. I think this whole record, it's really a journey. It is a long ride. I mean, the whole way. I mean, we're talking about different vehicles and different journeys, and it ends with Arizona, and before that, you're in a Camaro, and before that, you're in the trunk, and it's all about this journey. I mean, we wanted to make a record for the traveling man, be it a band or a truck driver or someone that's away from home, even if home isn't a place that you love that much. I mean, being away from anything, you kind of start to miss it.
Yeah. Charmer is the next song on the album, and this is one a bit like Knocked Up in the sense that, to me, it paints a whole new sound picture or soundscape of what Kings of Leon are all about. The screams in it are great, and it has a Pixie-style bass line at the beginning. And were you listening to any other kinds of bands, or how do you just soak these things up along the way?
Partly both. I mean, we've soaked up music since the beginning of this band. Thanks to you guys, partly. I mean, the UK really opened our eyes to music, and I mean, before that, we were starting to delve into stuff. And with a song like Charmer, I mean, I think you can obviously hear the Pixies influence and like the Joy Division influence and stuff like that. We've always had this push and pull with this band because I stick to my guns, and and we've always tried to shy away from everyone thinking that we're country and this and that. But I mean, the wholesomeness of the songs, they always remind me of country, country music, good old country music. And when you have the youngsters in the band, like my little brother Jared, he's always pushing to have that really tough bass line, and he blew me away on this record. We would literally have to say, man, look, 3 bass lines on one song, that's plenty, We don't need 5, if it was up to him, he would be playing something different from line to line. It's like, man, you're stepping on my toes, buddy.
But man, you've got to give him his dues because the results do sound great, and particularly on this track.
Yeah, he's a madman.
And who's doing all that screaming in the background?
That's me.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to do that live when you do this song live?
Yeah. It's people can't believe it, but it's one of my easier songs. I've always been good at the blood-curdling scream. It's the moments when it's just me and my guitar that kind of make me a little nervous. But stuff like this, man, it's like the band already sounds badass. All I have to do is just scream along with it.
Yeah, and you can hear it for yourselves on this. This is Kings of Leon, Charmer on Exposure, XFM.
So be there!
You're listening to Exposure. It is XFM. It's John Kennedy with you until 1, and it's another Exposure album playback. That is Kings of Leon, On Call, from the new album Because of the Times. On Call was the first single from the record. And what can you tell us about this, Caleb?
Well, I mean, as I've said, it's really hard for me to pick a single and to put a face on a record. But, I mean, with a song like this, I think it's such a simple song with it's a powerful statement, but I'm pretty much repeating it over and over, and we're playing a G chord. I mean, it's a really easy song for someone to wrap their head around, I think. And in this day and age, you kind of have to do that, especially where we live. In America, you have to, you can't really take people on too long of a journey because half of them don't want to go. There isn't much radio playing good music. So I think a song like this, man, even a kid could hear it once or twice and know all the lyrics, and I think that was the reason we chose this one first.
Yeah, and who's on call in the song? Is it you or is it her? Or?
Yeah, no, it's me. It's actually, it's about 2 sides of me. There's not really a girl involved in this. I mean, it's kind of about having to be there for yourself. Even when you fall apart, you have to pick yourself up and be like, look, nobody's going to be here for me. I mean, I've already ruined relationships in the past, and I'm the one that's standing here, so I mean, I might as well go ahead and try to finish this battle.
McFearless is the next song, and is this where you have to be McFearless, as it were?
Yeah, I mean, not really. This one came from a bass line that my little brother was playing, and we actually almost didn't put it on the record, but only because it was such a hard song for me to write lyrically. It's similar to like an old Memphis hip-hop song to me. I mean, I pretty much have to rap, and it's kind of like a flow, and I didn't know what to write about and stuff like that, and we had gotten into a big fight, and the whole band was pretty much pissed at me, and so I wrote a song about them. I mean, it's pretty much just saying, we better stick together. If not, I'm going on without y'all, And now it's actually our favorite song, one of my favorite songs that we've done. I think it's a beautiful song. It's big. It feels so great live, and we're all involved, It's funny. It's a song kind of pointing fingers, but this is the one song when we're on stage, everyone's singing together. We're all like, there's a lot of unity with it.
Yeah.
And I let my little brother name it because it was his bass line, and I gave him the nickname of Jesse McPherson, and so he said he's going to call it McFearless.
And this is it, Kings of Leon, McFearless on Exposure, XFM. Did you hear that soaring guitar solo? That is Kings of Leon. They are back. Because of the Times is the album. That was Black Thumbnail, and it's getting the Exposure album playback treatment tonight. Caleb from the band is here to talk us through it track by track. And is that Matthew playing that guitar there? Does he do all the lead breaks? How does that work?
Yeah, he does the lead guitar. Actually, this is the first song that had a bass solo too. Everyone was wanting to put their stamp on it. This and McFearless were the two last songs that we recorded on this record. They were actually the two that we did in LA, thinking that they would be B-sides. But I mean, after listening to them, there was no denying that they had to, they had to be on here. And this song in particular, it's the first song that honestly, like I was reading the lyrics. I wrote the lyrics 2 seconds before we walked in there to record. We recorded it 3 times in a row and kept the third one. It was just all raw passion. I mean, this is the first song that during the recording I was actually jumping up and down while we were playing. And I've always hated to see bands that jump up and down, you know. I like people that dance below the waist and stuff like that. But I mean, my hands were hurting. It was a never-ending song to me, so I had to jump along with it.
Excellent. My Party is the next song. Is it your party?
Most of the time, it is.
This is like a new wave boogie song or something.
Yeah, we've, I think we've always, it's always been well known that we aren't big fans of, the bands that have to have 4 on the floor at all times, like, the dance songs, because, for so long we didn't go to dance clubs, But I mean, when we started working on this song, we all kind of looked around and we're like, are we gonna really go there? Because if we do it, we have to do it full on, We have to show people that if we're gonna have a dance song, we want to actually dance to it. And this song was was a lot of fun. It has a lot of different layers. It was the one song that we knew that people would be playing. And so that was like a hard part. It was like, oh man, do we want people to be playing the song all the time? But we left the studio and we would go DJ at this little bar/club on Thursday nights. And, we'd have this cool set list together and, rock songs mixed with, dancey songs. And actually it was the greatest because we would put this song in there and no one knew it was us. No one. We would just be up there. And I would absolutely get to watch the room and look at people's response and their reactions. And it was kind of like doing homework. And it was always good. And everyone was always like, who is this? And I'd be like, I don't know. It's some Swedish band. I'm not sure.
Excellent. Well, great idea. And so when Kings of Leon go DJing, what kind of stuff do you play? Thin Lizzy and try to mix in some old hip-hop if there's something that we like. But really the youngsters, Jared and Matt, they're kind of on top of their game musically. They spend a lot more time listening to music than I. Jay-Z. Yeah. So quite a mixture then, really.
Yeah.
Sounds great. We'll have to book you, do a session here at XFM.
We're trying to help people in America learn how to throw a set list together.
Excellent. And I guess if this is your dance anthem, then.
Yeah, it is now.
Kings of Leon, My Party. Kings of Leon with My Party from the brand new album Because of the Times. It's Exposure XFM with Caleb from Kings of Leon talking us through the brand new album. True Love Way is the next song, and slightly slower pace. Is it a love song? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I think it is. This song we had said that it wasn't going on the record, and literally the last second we were like, look, put it on the record, just do it. We have a feeling that we should do it. I mean, this was a big part of the record, and whether or not we wanted to put it on the record, it had to be on there. kind of reminds me of, it's very anthemic, you know, fist pumping. It reminds me of like Bryan Adams or something.
Right.
It's kind of one of those kinds of songs. And actually, True Love Way, if you listen to the chorus, I'm saying, you know, we'll be so free, happy alone, sharing a smile. And that chorus actually was the original chorus for our song Happy Alone,
Right.
off of our first album. And I didn't think the chorus was catchy enough, so rewrote the chorus and did the face hair, you know, tangling face hair, whatever. But the chorus, I've always liked it, you know, I've always liked the statement and liked what I was saying. So whenever this song came back around, I threw that chorus back in there, and everyone's like, all right, man, the chorus is back.
Yeah. Wow. So they all recognised it, of course, and
Yeah.
and you managed to rework it in, and I love all the ohs in it as well.
Oh yeah, there was a lot more of those. We had to take them out. we went really heavy on the ohs for a while.
And it builds and builds, and then there's this excellent guitar solo. I mean, it seems that everybody was firing on all cylinders on this album.
Yeah. This was Matthew. You know, this was his song. He wanted to stand on top of a mountain, you know, with a fog machine and really go for it. And so we gave him the longest solo that he's ever had, and you know, he didn't fall on his face, man. I'm really proud of him on this one.
No, it sounds great, and we can picture him now on that mountain with the fog machine in the background. This is Kings of Leon with True Love Way on Exposure XFM. Kings of Leon, True Love Way on Exposure XFM from the brand new album Because of the Times. Did you hear Matthew there, standing on the mountain? Ragu is the next song. I've got Caleb with me tonight, and this is another one that, to me, or to my ears, displays a kind of influence from The Edge. I mean, would it be that direct? I mean, you know, if I'm listening to these songs and thinking, well, I know I've mentioned it before, but you toured with U2, and obviously The Edge has this unique sound, and he's developed it over the years.
Yeah.
And as you as a band, as you were saying, you know, you never went the effects pedal route because you didn't want to or didn't need to, didn't feel the urge to, until now you're kind of exploring, pushing out, stretching out, really, and it's working. It sounds great.
Yeah, thanks. I never really heard the Edge on this one. I just heard that, you know, I thought it was a different song. It was pretty diverse for us. We've always wanted to be a good enough band to pull off a reggae song, but there's a lot of finesse that's needed, and I think now we finally have it, so we did it. And I mean, Matthew's guitar part on this, it sounds like pedals. It's not really. It's him playing all these octave notes and all these, I don't even know how to explain it. It hurts me when I watch him play it.
Yeah. And I mean, do you listen to reggae? I mean, you into reggae?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we listen to everything. I mean, reggae is really good for chilling out and, you know, having a left-handed cigarette, glass of wine. So, yeah, I mean, you know, only the good stuff. I mean, reggae can be very repetitive, but when you find something that's classy and reggae, man, you know, it has a vibe to it that it doesn't matter what color you are or what race you are or anything like that. I mean, you have to bob your head.
Yeah, it transcends, doesn't it? And lyrically, what's the song about? There's a line that kind of stuck out to me about being caught with your pants down or something.
Yeah. Well, pretty much the whole song is just it's building up and it's telling all these stories that are meant to be true, but whenever it gets to the chorus, the last thing I'm telling you is I'm lying to you. Caught me with my pants down. I mean, I kind of make it up to where, like, first line says, you know, here's to me to go and change the world. And, you know, I don't really think I'm going to change the world. I don't think we're going to change the world, but I think somebody needs to, man. This business is in a slump right now, and I hate to say business because I think that music is the last true art form. You know, we're not making the money that the athletes and the actors and actresses are making. So therefore, it's not as watered down. I mean, there is a lot of watered down, but not with us, man. We're really trying to do something different, you know. And if that takes us going down all these different avenues and trying to take people along with us, I mean, we're not scared. We're not scared to challenge people. I mean, because like I've said before, we haven't sold millions of records. We don't have anything we have to match. We're the best case scenario. We get a clean slate every record. Well, hopefully not after this one, but you know, up to this point.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Because I mean, you know, I mean, you know how popular you are over here, and we regard you as rock stars, you know, as kind of up there in that pantheon. And but I know what you're saying. Maybe the Strokes have a similar kind of position in that, you know, they've done so well over here, and they're doing pretty well back home. But it's not quite the same, even though, like yourselves, they had a big impact on the music scene.
Yeah, that's the Strokes, man. That's the great thing with them was that, of course, we toured with them a lot in the beginning, and we've always been really close friends. But there's such a friendly competition with us and them. When they make a record, we tell them to their face, it's like, all right, watch out, we're fixing to beat that, you know. And they do the same with us, you know.
Yeah.
We absolutely challenge one another to continue to up the ante. I mean, because there aren't many bands out there that challenge us. I mean, I hear records and I'll hear a good song off of a record or two good songs, but there aren't many people that are making full records to where it's like, oh no. It's like, all right, I'll see you, and I raise.
Yeah, yeah. So you're fighting fit. You can take the challenges.
Yeah, I mean, they're bigger guys. They're a lot taller than us, but when we have guitars on, I think we're all about 6'2".
Kings of Leon, Ragu, on Exposure, XFM. You're listening to Exposure. It is XFM. It's John Kennedy with you until 1, and that is Kings of Leon, track 9 from the brand new album, Because of the Times. That song is called Fans. I think it's probably one of my personal favourites from the record. And a little mention of England in there and the London scene. I haven't been able to digest all the lyrics, but what's it all? Is it an ode to your fans, Caleb?
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's where the title comes from. It's kind of about me. I quit being so hard on myself, you know, because when you go home, you kind of feel like everyone's forgotten about you, and you really don't know what's going on in the rest of the world. I mean, we don't get Enemy magazine and stuff like that, you know. We don't, you know, we have to look at the paper and stuff like that, so you don't really know what's going on. And with this song, I tried to remind myself, you know, what it was like. And everyone says London scene or England scene. I say all of London sing.
Ah, right, okay.
Because England swings, and they should love the tales I bring. And that's pretty much what it was about, you know. It's like, at the end of the day, we still have you guys, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent. That's a great track. And The Runner is the next song. A bit of a ballad, maybe.
Yeah.
But what's this song about?
Well, this one I kind of had brewing for a little while. This was back when my alter ego was a part of this. I think Rooster had made everyone mad in the band, and we were in some place like Belgium or something, so we were all pretty down, and nobody wanted to sound check, so I went out on the stage by myself, and it's just pretty much me and a bunch of security guards in there, and I started playing, and as soon as I started singing, like, my lips started shaking. Like, I was absolutely, the first time I was like looking right at myself and singing a song to myself. And, you know, I mentioned Jesus in the song, and it's not the way that you would think. I'm actually saying, you know, I know everyone hates me, and I know this and that, but at the end of the day, you know, somebody thinks I'm okay, and somebody appreciates the fact that I'm a man, and I have flaws, and I make mistakes on a daily basis, and when I wake up, I try to dust myself off and swear to myself that I won't do it again, even though I'm probably going to do it again, you know. And so this song for me, I mean, it touches me. I mean, I love it. I mean, I got to play mountain dulcimer on it. I got to play some cool instruments on this record. I played a little mandolin, a little Mandocaster. It's neat.
Yeah, it certainly is. And here it is, Kings of Leon, The Runner, on Exposure XFM. That is The Runner, Kings of Leon, on Exposure XFM from the brand new album, Because of the Times. Caleb from the band is here talking us through it track by track. Trunk is the next song, and you mentioned that you were talking about all kinds of vehicles and the idea of a journey and travelling and appealing to people who are on journeys and kind of moving from A to B. And Trunk, presumably the trunk of a car.
Yeah.
But what's this song all about?
This is about a different journey. It's still a man traveling, but he has someone in his trunk. It's it's a dark song. It's a desert song. It just had that creepy little bounce to it that it was dark. Everything about it felt dark. So when I started singing, the only place to go with it was back to Fantasyland, back like when on the first album. I would watch all these murder mystery shows, and I wouldn't watch it trying to write a song about death. I would always try to find the love in the song. And so it would always be like, man, this man loved her so much to where he killed her. Not only killed her, he was brutal about it, And I know that's morbid, but I mean, if you watch these television shows, that's what they tell you the whole time. It's like this guy was obsessed, and he wanted this love. And if he couldn't have it, well, then no one could have it, And so this song is pretty much about that. And I mean, I don't think anyone would have known it if I didn't call it The Trunk, but I did.
Yeah, and this is it. The Trunk. Kings of Leon. Exposure. XFM. Kings of Leon on Exposure XFM with Camaro from the brand new album Because of the Times, which has been getting the Exposure album playback treatment tonight. Camaro is track 12. There's one more to go. Caleb is still here talking us through it track by track. And Camaro, or I'd be inclined in a UK way to say Camaro, but I mean, I know of it, and it's an American car. What kind of a car is it?
It's a Chevrolet. Actually, every vehicle that I mentioned in this record is a Chevrolet.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily on purpose, but it really makes this record have an American feel or a down-home feel to me. And this song, I mean, we really it was a Joy Division bass line and beat and everything, and the way that I kind of flip it with the bounce of my guitar part. That's pretty much the song, and what I'm talking about is that's just the filler part, I wanted to talk about a girl looking cool in a Camaro and wearing sunglasses and smoking cigarettes and stuff like that, and then Matthew, we found the perfect guitar sound for him. And it reminds me of the old arcade game Tubing. It's almost corny. It's like, it's so on the edge of being like awesome or being completely ridiculous. And I think we're the only band that have the kahunas to go that far. So we did it, and it's Camaro.
Excellent. And I like the idea that you're talking about Joy Division, and we mentioned the Pixies earlier on, but somehow, even though you might be soaking up those influences and kind of going for that, your Southern rock and roll roots always shine through and take it and twist it to the Kings of Leon sound, really.
Yeah. We've tried to fight that for a little while, but you know what? I don't care, man. If we are Southern rock, well, God bless Southern rock. I mean, I don't think we are what old Southern rock was. I mean, hopefully we are the new form of Southern rock. There are lots of bands in Nashville that, they look up to us, and so we'll go watch them play, and it is the most watered down, I want to be Southern rock band kind of music, and we don't, we consider ourselves to be a lot classier than, singing about Jack Daniels and football and stuff like that. I mean, that's not what it's about for us, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think your roots are always going to shine, and especially when you're taking risks like we're taking with a song like this.
Yeah, yeah. No, fair play. Arizona is the last song on the album. You mentioned earlier on in the studio, Blackbird Studios in Nashville, you're able to color tone the studio according to how you felt the song was. And you were talking about, is it pinks and reds for Arizona? Did you open up to feel that desert
Yeah,
sky above your head?
yeah, we opened it up for this one. It was pinks and purples and lots of fluorescent colors. I have an obsession with the desert. I love Arizona. I don't know why, but I do. We used to be, you guys all know, we used to be a crazy band. And now we've straightened up a little bit, and we don't do all the things we used to. But when we did, I used to get kind of messed up, and when everyone would go to the hotel room, I would come off the bus and I would walk around the desert at night by myself, and I could like hear snakes and I could hear things, or I thought I could. And there were a lot of dark and dirty things that went on in the desert, but looking back, it always looks beautiful. It looks like one of those times in your lives when it was like, man, I was a kid. I was a stage in my life. I went for it and I loved it. And now, with this song, man, I tried to sum it all up. I mean, it's about a whorehouse and it's about drugs and it's about all these things, but I just think it's a really poetic song, and I think this is the one song that when we play this song, still to this day, we have bends in our knees. We have to lean back and just kind of feel it. I mean, it's everyone playing together on this song. We have to watch each other, and we want to watch each other. I mean, we want everyone to have a spotlight on this song because I think it's partly instrumental, but I think it's a key song to this record, and it was hard for me to put it last because I wanted to hear it up there in the beginning. But I think it's a perfect way to end the record, and hopefully people stick around to the very end because I don't think you want to miss this song.
Quite right too. Thanks so much for coming in, Caleb, talking us through it, track by track.
Yes, sir. It's been good.
This is the last song tonight from Kings of Leon, Arizona, on Exposure XFM.